Jody. Iya, dear, are you alright? You look rather pale, more so than usual. Yes, Jody, I'm fine. Right, well, I don't want to intrude on anything personal. There's some eggs for you on the table. The others already ate, but I saved a plate just for you. Okay. Also, you have a visitor. Do I need to speak to them? It's the Duchess, Iya. It's customary to respond to her presence. Not to mention she's been waiting here since I was cooking, and she seems very insistent on speaking with you. How strange of her. Yeah, I'll be there in a moment. Alright, let's get this over with. Ah, Your Grace, to what do I owe the pleasure? Iya, did you sleep all right? Is that really the question you're going to ask me? I apologize, and I'll be frank, I didn't get a wink of sleep either. Yesterday I was insensitive towards your feelings. I assumed that our situations were the same, but I could be very wrong. After all, we're still processing everything that's happened these past few months. You know, no one truly does prepare us for the decisions and sacrifices we must make, no matter how painful they can be. But fate has led me here, the Duchess of an abandoned village, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else. Your Grace, you and I aren't anything alike. You may have important matters to attend to, but I uphold much more. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think I can keep doing this anymore. What's that supposed to mean? I've neglected my responsibilities as a duchess to support you in this high tale about saving the world. But I've let my personal feelings get the better of me. And you're right. We should focus on ourselves. So, what I'm trying to say is, I hope you and Alvar can make up these next few days. But, if you do come back, there will always be a home for you here.
Morning, Iya. Have you made your final decision? Now, before you say anything, please hear me.
I'll go.
What?
Iya, are you sure you want to continue with this? We all just got back.
You don't have to come if you're just going to be a hindrance.
I want to be there to protect you.
Well then, let's get going.
Iya.
Wonderful. Now, please do mind the light.
Coven of Crescent Moon. Celine, who are these outsiders? Sir Alvar, Duchess Cadence Junar, and Iya Rumlar's daughter. They are all inhabitants of MoonSoul. I've brought them here under Arcadia's request. What sort of business would she need to involve some mortals and... She glances towards me and Blaire. A traitor and a nuisance. I didn't ask too many questions, but as far as I know, it's for the safety of our realm, to protect it from lingering dark forces. If this threat involves our people, wouldn't she have placed us as her first defense? I didn't question her. You and I both know her reasons can be inexplicable. Now, please inform the others of our arrival and to prepare a grand feast this evening. Should be prepared. If you need anything else during your stay, we'd be happy to oblige. Now, come along. Now, before you all decide to roam around our coven, I must set a vital rule. You are under no circumstances to destroy the nature that grows here. That's reasonable. May I ask how they are grown? There seems to be this calming essence to them. Our home is strongly tied to the Earth's core, filled with magical essence. This flora has grown from that magic, and it exudes its life force onto magic users. I see. So it's a power source of some kind. Precisely. And as such, should these plants be destroyed, or the core corrupted, the magic will deteriorate until it's nothing. Also, I ask you be mindful of the inhabitants. The mystical creatures have become accustomed to our magic, and more importantly, it is safe for them here. And they're harmless? Well, unless you intentionally provoke them, such as the fairies, who I do not recommend picking a duel with. Duly noted. Well, I suppose I've covered the primary rules. All of you have individual chambers. And Blaire, while I cannot say with certainty, I'm sure your room hasn't changed that much. As for Iya, I will give you some time to change into finer garments before greeting Arcadia. Perhaps we could accompany her? Sir Diza, I apologize, but Arcadia only has time for Iya. But don't make this into a big ordeal. I'm sure this coven leader isn't as intimidating as you think. I'm going alone. I can assure you, Arcadia isn't one of irrationality. Now then, I hope you can all rejuvenate your spirits from your perilous journey, and remember, there will always be someone watching you. Geez, is this special witch nocturnal? I can barely see anything. Arcadia prefers to remain secluded in order to concentrate on her powers. This actually brings me to a word of caution. When you do meet with Arcadia, you must be respectful in her presence. She's generous enough to permit an outsider of the coven to be near her, so you should be grateful for anything she tells you. So, pamper her like some goddess? What exactly makes her so important? Arcadia is the witch of all time, as well as the head of our coven. She has seen many spectacles, many other worlds, and has maintained order in this current humanity. We, the coven, owe our very being to her, a world where magic can thrive and not be shunned as evil. Okay, whatever. Enough obnoxious praising. Can we keep going? Actually, this is as far as I can go. What do you mean? Why? Arcadia can only see one other life form at a time. As long as you keep going forward, you'll know when you're there. If this Arcadia was some miracle for her world, it's pretty conceited of her to not show her face. I mean, her contribution to this perfect world of magic is delusional thinking, because, you know, my tyrannical father is still here. Well, this is comedic. Hello? Are you just going to keep staring at me? Time is the gatekeeper of life and death. Okay, that is one way of introducing yourself. The world revolves around a clock, and every moment something happens. As its guardian, I maintain the flow of time and keep interferences at bay. I do not tamper with a human's lifespan. I simply construct their path and observe the decisions they make to meet their end. I'm sorry, but why are you going on about your pitiful existence? Were you not the one asking about my importance earlier? Okay, so you can basically hear everything. What a surprise. Your presence feels familiar. I believe I met another human who possesses unfathomable powers. Look, I don't want to be here. But since I've been threatened countless times by your pets, why not make this easier for us and just get it over with? Why do you think I brought you here? To kill me? If you think I'm an issue in your perfect world, why not just get rid of me? I made it clear that I don't have control over a human's life, even though I am concerned for your mortality. Oh yeah? So what? You're gonna console me instead? Try to make me see the better things? Yeah, Rumlar's daughter. I may not be able to see your path anymore, but I can guarantee one part. Your dark magic will consume you, and you will die. What does this feel? I was born with dark magic, and look, I'm still here. But you're beginning to slip through that control. A mere child at play. Why does everyone keep calling me that? It's so annoying. Tell me, what do you want? Sorry? It's a pretty standard question. What I want is for my powers to stay with me. There's a cathedral in the kingdom of Alehia. If you choose so, you will be able to eradicate all dark magic within you. And if I say no, you don't have a choice. And what about me? What'll happen when half of me is gone? I want to protect the people of this world. I will not allow for history to repeat itself. I disdain the goddess and her powers of life, but I can see that the Lord of Darkness is a much larger threat than before. Though, I knew you wouldn't immediately agree to my terms. After all, it's not you who speaks for Iya. Because I sense a great evil boiling inside of you. Is that you, Rumlar? What was that? So, did you learn everything you need? That she's more creepy than the rest of you? I'll ignore that shameful comment, but I hope you were able to bask in her timely wisdom. Yeah, sure. Our coven will be holding a grand supper to welcome you and your friends. Attendance is mandatory, or else you don't eat at all. A servant will come and guide you when it is time. For now, feel free to roam around our grand libraries and luscious gardens. Just don't go to a prohibited area or talk to anyone you don't know. Okay.
What an eye-catching amulet you have there, stranger. What does it possess?
Huh?
It's a Newman amulet, no? They're created by deities.
Are they now?
A mortal cannot replicate one. It can only be crafted or destroyed by a deity. Tell me, where did you find this one?
Actually, it was my mother's, Lady Blossom.
Oh, so you're Yiya.
And now that you know, do you despise me as well?
Oh, trust me. There are greater evils out there than you.
Do you know what powers this amulet holds?
Most amulets do contain similar elements. The best I can say is it creates a barrier around the holder against dark entities. However, if the amulet can conjure great energy, then it could increase its barrier to protect villages and even kingdoms. I have yet to study more about this world, but I have come across some texts about Lady Blossom, such as her secret village that keeps her worshippers.
Do you mean MoonSoul?
Yes, that's the name! I'm sure if the amulet could, it would protect that poor village from her enemies.
What about its force against a deity?
That depends on the type of amulet it is. In fact, amulets contain the essence of the deity that created it, so you're basically carrying a part of Lady Blossom with you.
So, if it were destroyed... thanks, I guess.
Esther, will you be at dinner?
Like I have a choice here.
True. I suppose I'll see you then.
It's wonderful to have you back for the time being. How were the apprentices today?
Yeah, well, let's just say I was more entertained by their amusing efforts. Ah, who are the newcomers?
Degenerates.
They're the Duchess and head guard for the village MoonSoul.
That's a name I have not heard in a while. So, did you see? Well, you know who.
Blaire was quite compliant with our request, at least when Arcadia's name was in the conversation.
Maybe it finally got through to her delirious thoughts that she's been pursuing nothing.
No matter where we go, I guess we'll always be outcasts, even to those who are already outcasted.
Thank you all for gathering for this very special occasion. As I'm sure all of you are aware now, we are pleased to welcome guests from MoonSoul into our coven. We do take into consideration your concerns of outsiders, especially with our persistent issue to preserve the coven's magic. But rest assured, these guests have proven themselves to be honest people, and we hope with a bond such as this, that it will lead onward into a better future for magic. Well done. Let us feast on this glorious night.
Where's Blaire? Isn't she supposed to be helping us right now?
I'm not sure. She seemed quiet when we arrived. Perhaps we should give her some space. After all, this was her home before MoonSoul.
By the way, I heard Charles is planning to propose to Adelina.
What?
Yes! I was worried about saying anything that might ruin the surprise. Charles came to my house this morning to arrange the ceremony as soon as possible.
This is good for him. With the passing of his late wife, I never thought he would get out of his slump.
And with Flora, you're right.
Hang on, doesn't this seem a bit spontaneous?
I mean, they do have history together.
Sure, but we're still in an impending war, and they want to frolic off into some senseless commitment?
Yeah, it's their choice. Charles and Adelina weren't part of this situation in the first place, so of course they would want to move away from it and go back to their old lives.
Yeah, well, they can't get out that easily.
Iya, I think you're overthinking this whole situation.
Look, Adelina is my friend, and I just want to look out for her.
Charles has always been courteous to Adelina, and even before, he has always been an honest man. Iya, I think Adelina will be fine.
What do you know? He moved to Scotty Ball, away from his mother and daughter, and who knows what he did there.
I'm sure it was a sensible decision to move. After all, we knew his struggles before you arrived, Iya.
I don't want Charles to make a rash decision. Hey, was it Witch of the Skies? Why isn't your leader here?
I mentioned this earlier. Arcadia must remain in her sanctuary to concentrate on the flow of time.
So she can try to scare me and never show her face again? How lame.
So Duchess of MoonSoul, may I ask how's life is it as the head of your village?
MoonSoul has been keeping its own.
Still a camp of fugitives.
Thana!
I'd like to see it as a safe refuge for anyone. And actually, I'm glad that MoonSoul doesn't follow the same regime as every other kingdom with their hostility and barbarism.
I would be wise with your words, Duchess. That boisterous tone might offend the wrong people.
Besides, we wouldn't want Iya to have false impression of these kingdoms, since she'll be traveling to Alehia after tonight.
What do you mean by that?
Arcadia instructed me to go to Alehia for a cathedral that can eradicate my powers, or whatever she has planned.
And you agreed!
I didn't exactly...
I'm sorry. Your hospitality has been generous, but Iya isn't going to Olahia.
I'm afraid you don't have a say in the decision, Duchess.
I mean, if it's Arcadia's word, it's pretty much a sealed deal.
Look, we're not exactly on friendly terms with Olahia, so we're not sure how they would respond to Iya's presence out of nowhere.
Well, that would be only an issue if you two were actually going.
What is that supposed to mean?
This situation only concerns the Coven and Iya. While we allowed you and your guards to enter our domain, I'm afraid that's as far you will go. I'm afraid you're no longer needed, Duchess.
We can't let Iya go alone.
Pardon?
We'd go along with Iya, sure, but this concerns our village's ties with Olahia.
Alvar?
We want Iya to regain her consciousness, as well as be free from whatever is controlling her, but we also want to discuss peace with Olahia. And you need closure.
Does this have something to do with earlier?
Since Brennan rose, I suspected my family would be residing in Olahia. And my brother.
Your brother?
You told Iya?
No, I knew you looked familiar.
What is that supposed to mean?
There was a tale long ago that had Olahia and Brennan Rose pitted against each other. And what better way to resolve it than a marriage of convenience? It was supposed to be between Princess of Brennan Rose and Prince of Olahia until she disappeared. But it all worked out in the end. The Prince of Brahan Rose, her brother, will fulfill the treaty upon his marriage of a legitimate daughter of the Ohan Ping.
What about the prince?
He passed months before the wedding ceremony, which means...
The prince would now be king of Olahia.
Now tell me, Duchess, what was it you were saying about your brother?
I don't have to say anything to a witch who knows nothing about my situation.
Remember your place, mortal. You and your people are a delicate kind, a petty village that's the laughingstock across the land.
Oh, maybe we should settle down now.
Cyrus is right. Thana, this shouldn't turn into a big ordeal.
We've dealt with concerns around Lady Blossom in the past, and even though the commoners see her as some miracle of life, she's a fraud. There are people that have mastered what she could do, as well as succeeded in her powers, so it'd be pathetic to refer to her as some primordial being. She had the nerve to corrupt the timeline in order to have her daughter reborn.
Thana, that is enough. We're causing an uproar among the mages.
How could you all place this
Why are
burden
you
on
blindly
Iya?
protecting this
Duchess,
corruption?
are you saying
Don't
that
refer to
Aya
Miss
didn't
Iya
lay
like
it
that.
down?
Excuse me.
I sincerely apologize for our unruly behavior. Perhaps we should end it here. Guys, has she ever discussed her origins with you?
Lady Cadence is like a sister to me. We told each other many things about our past, and we promised to keep it between us.
You may ignorantly believe that it will work, but it will come out eventually.
Iya, what's going on? Are you okay? Iya, what is going on with your eyes? Come on, Iya, talk to me!
Father.
The Augury jail resists once again. I need you to assure they never will again. The army is at your disposal. I expect complete compliance from the people once you are done with them, or there will be consequences.
Yes, Father.